Hello and welcome to a whole nother awesome review. I hope that all of you are enjoying everything and getting ready for Halloween and everything. Well, I thought I'd review the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003 starring Jessica Biel. So if you haven't seen this film, it's a fantastic film. The Blu-ray looks fantastic, by the way. The picture quality is crisp and clear. And the 1080p is awesome. The sound is really good. It's in Dolby Digital, True HD, and well, what can I say about this film? This film is a fantastic film. I remember when I went originally to see this film, I was 17 years old. I couldn't get into the movie, so I got my mom to come down and say I was 18. I went into the film, terrified as hell. This was the goriest film I had ever seen at that time. And I had this big bowl of popcorn. And I'm watching the film, and all you know that scene where the guy gets his leg chopped off by the chainsaw? My popcorn went straight up in the air, and I dropped it like everywhere. And there was barely anybody in the movie theater actually when I went, because I went to the late showing. And for some reason, there was only like 2 other people that were in the movie theater. So it was just me in there, and with the stereo blasting, it was creepy as hell watching this film. And then I remember going outside of the movie theater and then waiting, for my dad to come pick me up. And there was this guy, and he was wearing kind of like the same clothes that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre would wear, like country kind of like clothes. And I was freaking terrified. And then my dad finally pulled up and picked me up. But at that time, this film totally freaked me out. And I was thinking, based on a true story, how much of this is based on a true story? So I remember actually going out and buying the DVD. This is the Blu-ray, of course, and it has the same things as the DVD as special features are concerned. It's got 3 commentaries, an alternate opening and ending. It's got deleted scenes, and it's got Egging, the Ghoul of Plainfield. And that's the terrifying thing, that the Egging actually inspired the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and that the remake actually took stuff a little even farther and took stuff from the Egging case. I mean, it is kind of based on a true story, in a sense, not entirely. The real story didn't take place in the 70s, it actually took place in the 50s. And Toby Hooper, for the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, was so terrified by hearing these stories about Ed Gein that he got the idea to make the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original from the 70s. And he was in a store and he saw a chainsaw, and he was thinking, man, I could totally get out of this store if I picked this chainsaw up and chainsawed everybody. So that's where he got the idea of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But the whole idea of Leatherface comes from Ed Gein, basically. Ed Gein was this really sick man in the 50s who dug up dead bodies, killed 2 people, and he's really sick. He made 6 faces out of human skin. He had a chair made out of human skin. He had a heart that was put in a bag, and many other grotesque things that I don't even know about. Now, the interesting thing about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is that it takes that whole idea of egging and it exaggerates it. Like, there's these people basically that get teared up by the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And when in the original was mostly this guy digging up dead bodies, but he did kill 2 people, so there you go. And who knows how many people he killed, right? I mean, he was a psycho. He could have killed way more people than that, and they just didn't know about it. Who knows, right? So, the whole idea of Psycho, Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is all based on this character named Ed Gein, which is probably the most interesting thing that you'll ever find in a horror film. This was a very sick man, Ed Gein. And he had a domineering mother, which made him turn crazy. And they actually believe that he actually killed his brother and burned him alive in a barn fire. So there you go. Because they found that he had hit marks on his head, and they think that he actually killed his brother too. So there you go. He actually killed 3 people. So there you go. Ed Gein killed 3 people. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre borrows a lot of stuff from Ed Gein, in a sense. The whole idea of being strung, the whole idea of that being strung up like a deer, basically, comes from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They even have a scene in the movie where this guy gets spiked up, and he's just held by this spike in his, like that whole idea. Like, you actually see some crime scene photos from Ed Gein, and it is similar to that in a sense. And this was a really sick man, basically. And so the whole idea of that crime scene photo thing with those guys going into the house, well, just imagine that, but it's like, like Ed Gein. And in the Ed Gein case, like, it's even more disturbing. Like, the cop puts his hand into a bag and he finds a human head. Like, it's really disturbing. Probably even more disturbing than this movie, because it's reality and it happened in the 50s in Plainfield. So if you want to learn more about the original story of what inspired this movie, there's a documentary on here that you can watch that's fantastic. And the film itself, the remake, and of course the original are a fantastic film, and it's an awesome movie. I don't want to totally ruin it for you guys, but Leatherface is one scary dude. So I highly recommend this film to anybody that hasn't seen it. This is one of the best remakes ever made, in my opinion, of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And this is actually the first time I discovered Platinum Dunes and Brad Fuller and Andrew Form, who are very good producers, and they work for Michael Bay. They made the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, Friday the 13th, 2009, and A Nightmare on Elm Street, 2010. And I think all 3 of those films are great films, and they also made the Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning, which I think is a fantastic film too. And I think these producers don't get enough respect. I mean, you look at how much money they made, and clearly people love this film. You look how many DVDs and Blu-rays that people buy of their films. People like their films, and people just want to bash their films because Michael Bay produced it or whatever, right? Well, Michael Bay is a really good producer, and his films are pretty good. I mean, I like the first Transformers movie, and these films are good. And Platinum Dunes is a great company. I like all their films that they made. The only one I probably don't like is The Unborn. I didn't like that film, but or the Amityville. I didn't like those 2. But other than that, I think they're a great company. And I heard they're doing the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so that'll be interesting to see what they do with that. But I think they should go back to making some more horror films, because they're really good at doing that. And I think they did a wonderful job with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake. And I think that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3D being made by Lionsgate has a lot to stand up to with this film. This wasn't a gimmick film. This wasn't made for 3D. This was made to be totally hardcore and go back to those hardcore 1970 roots and make Leatherface scary again. Not like he was in like 2 and 3, like make him horrifying again. And that's what you get in this film. It is a fantastic film. I highly suggest it, and I hope all of you out there have a happy Halloween. Thanks for watching.